The Xeraxian Empire's flagship Eternal Dominion emerged from hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system, its crystalline hull catching the light of an unfamiliar yellow star. Supreme Commander Vixthal stood on the command deck, their iridescent scales shifting colors with barely contained anticipation. For 10,000 years, the Xeraxians had expanded their empire across the galaxy, bringing order and subservience to every species they encountered. This system would be no different. Supreme Commander, First Officer Zelkar's voice carried across the bridge, their head frills twitching with confusion. We're detecting artificial structures throughout this system. Satellites, stations, and ships. Many ships. Vixthal's inner eyelids flickered in surprise. Their long-range scouts had marked this system as primitive, barely capable of reaching their own moon. Yet here was evidence of a thriving spacefaring civilization. Show me. The holographic display materialized, revealing dozens of vessels of varying sizes and designs. Unlike the uniform, crystalline aesthetics of Xeraxian ships, these craft showed a bewildering variety of approaches to space travel. Some were sleek and streamlined, others blocky and functional, and still others seemed to defy conventional engineering altogether. Fascinating, Vixthal muttered. Open communications on all standard frequencies. Let us enlighten these beings about their new reality. The bridge crew worked quickly, but before they could broadcast, a message arrived first. The holographic display shifted to show a human female, her dark skin contrasting with a simple blue uniform adorned with minimal insignia. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Curiosity. Welcome to Sol System. We've been tracking your approach for the past 3 days and thought we'd save you the trouble of making first contact. Her smile seemed genuine, but there was something in her eyes that Vixthal couldn't quite read. The Supreme Commander drew themselves up to their full height, their scales shifting to the formal patterns of imperial authority. I am Supreme Commander Vixthal of the Xeraxian Empire. Your system lies within our designated expansion zone. We bring the gift of civilization and order. Submit to imperial authority, and your transition to becoming a protectorate will be smooth. Captain Chen's smile didn't waver, but several of her bridge crew could be heard chuckling in the background. That's a very generous offer, Supreme Commander, but I'm afraid we'll have to decline. Earth isn't really interested in becoming anyone's protectorate. Vixthal's scales rippled with indignation. Perhaps I wasn't clear. The Xeraxian Empire spans 17,000 star systems. Our technology is beyond your comprehension. Resistance would be. They paused for dramatic effect, inadvisable. Oh, we comprehend just fine, Chen replied, her tone still conversational. We've been analyzing your ship since you entered the system. Crystalline quantum computing cores, very elegant, though the processing architecture seems a bit rigid. And your drive system, antimatter cascade with gravitational focusing. We experimented with something similar about 50 years ago, before we developed quantum fold technology. The bridge of the Eternal Dominion fell silent. Vixthal's scales shifted to a pattern that hadn't been seen on a Supreme Commander in centuries. Uncertainty. You claim to understand our technology. They demanded. Impossible. Our sciences have been perfected over millennia. That might be the problem right there, Chen said, leaning forward in her chair. Perfection can be a trap. Humanity, we're never satisfied. We're always breaking things apart, putting them back together differently, asking what if. It keeps us innovative. She gestured to someone off-screen. Here, let me show you something interesting. The Curiosity suddenly disappeared from its position, reappearing instantaneously 1,000 kilometers away. No hyperspace window, no gravitational distortion. It simply ceased to exist in one location and existed in another. Quantum translocation, Chen explained casually. Like I said, we moved past antimatter drives a while ago. Listen, Supreme Commander, we're always excited to meet new civilizations. We love to establish diplomatic relations, cultural exchange, trade agreements, but as equals, not subjects. Vixthal's mind raced. In 10,000 years of expansion, no species had ever responded to first contact this way. They were supposed to be awed, intimidated, or at least properly fearful. These humans seemed almost amused. You dare mock the Empire? Vixthal's scales flashed warning patterns. Not at all, Chen replied. We're just really curious about you. Your civilization has achieved amazing things. We'd love to learn from you, and maybe share some of our own discoveries. What do you say? Shall we start over? Less about empires and submission, more about exploration and exchange. The Supreme Commander stared at the human captain, their carefully constructed script of imperial conquest crumbling in the face of this unprecedented response. These humans were either brilliantly bluffing or genuinely possessed technology that rivaled or exceeded the Empire's in some areas. Either possibility was deeply unsettling. I will need to consult with the Imperial Council, Vixthal finally said. Of course, Chen nodded. In the meantime, would you like a tour of our ship? Our chief engineer loves showing off our quantum fold drive to new friends. Fair warning, though, she can talk about. Dr. Maya Patel tried not to smile as she watched the Zeraxian engineering team examine the Curiosity's quantum fold drive. Their crystalline data tablets trembled in their grip as they took readings, their scales shifting through patterns of disbelief and fascination. Chief Engineer Khazar, the highest-ranking technical expert in the Zeraxian delegation, kept running the same scan over and over, as if expecting different results. This defies all established principles, they finally declared, head frills quivering. The energy matrix should be completely unstable. That's because you're looking for symmetry, Maya explained, pulling up a holographic representation of the drive's quantum field. See, everyone assumed quantum fields needed to be perfectly balanced. Turns out, controlled chaos works better. The asymmetry actually helps stabilize the fold. She manipulated the hologram, showing how the seemingly random fluctuations created a perfect translocation envelope. We discovered this by accident, actually. One of our test drives malfunctioned, created an irregular field pattern. Instead of shutting it down, one of our engineers thought it looked interesting and decided to study it. Pure curiosity, no practical goal in mind. Khazar's scales shifted to a deep blue of confusion. But that violates the grand unified theory of quantum mechanics established by the Imperial Science Council 3,000 years ago. Maya shrugged. Maybe it's time for a new theory. We revise ours all the time. Science isn't about establishing unchangeable rules. It's about constantly questioning what we think we know. Across the ship, similar scenes were playing out. In the medical bay, Zeraxian physicians watched in amazement as human doctors demonstrated their neural interface healing technology. Instead of the crystalline regeneration chambers the Empire used, humans had developed a way to directly interface with the body's own healing systems, accelerating natural processes. In the Weapons Control Center, Imperial military observers struggled to understand the humans' adaptive defense systems. Rather than the massive fixed-position crystal-focusing arrays of Zeraxian ships, human vessels used networks of smaller interconnected systems that could reconfigure themselves based on the situation. Supreme Commander Vixthal stood on the bridge with Captain Chen, watching their crews interact. I don't understand, they admitted. Your technology. It's chaotic, unpredictable. It breaks all the rules we followed for millennia. Yet it works. How? Chen smiled. That's exactly why it works. Humans have always been good at breaking rules. We don't see boundaries as barriers. We see them as challenges. When something seems impossible, that just makes us more determined to try it. But how do you maintain order? Progress. Vixthal's scales rippled with genuine curiosity now. The Empire achieved greatness through standardization, through perfecting our technologies and ensuring they were implemented uniformly across all our worlds. And that worked brilliantly for you, Chen acknowledged. But humans? We thrive on diversity. Look at our ships. No two are exactly alike. Different teams, different approaches, different solutions to the same problems. We compete, we collaborate, we steal each other's ideas and improve them. It's messy, but it drives innovation. A commotion from the engineering section interrupted their conversation. Maya's voice came over the intercom, barely containing her excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. Khazar just showed me how their crystalline computing cores work. If we combine that with our quantum field manipulation, I think we could increase processing efficiency by an order of magnitude." Chen turned to Vixthal. "See, this is what happens when different approaches come together. Your engineers perfect a technology over thousands of years, making it as efficient as possible within its established parameters. We come along, look at it from a completely different angle, and find new possibilities neither of us saw before." The Supreme Commander watched as their engineers and the human technical team began sketching out hybrid designs, their earlier rigidity forgotten in the excitement of discovery. The humans' enthusiasm was infectious. Even Khazar's scales were showing patterns of creative energy that hadn't been seen in an Imperial engineer for generations. "The Imperial Council will not be pleased," Vixthal mused. "They expect me to either conquer you or declare you a threat to be eliminated. Instead, I find myself wondering if perhaps we have something to learn from you." "And we definitely have things to learn from you," Chen replied. "Your crystalline technology, your understanding of long-term stability and refinement. These are areas where humanity could benefit from your experience. The question is, can the mighty Ziraxian Empire handle a relationship between equals?" Before Vixthal could respond, alarms blared across both ships. A junior officer rushed to Chen's side. "Captain, we're detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. The full Imperial battle fleet just entered the system." Vixthal's scales paled. The Council must have decided to take matters into their own hands. "They're not here for diplomacy." Chen's expression hardened, but her voice remained calm. "Well, Supreme Commander, looks like we're about to find out if your empire is ready for change, one way or another. Question is, where do you stand?" As the Imperial warships approached, Vixthal looked around the bridge of the Curiosity, at humans and Ziraxians working together, already creating something new and unexpected. Their scales shifted to a pattern that hadn't been seen in Imperial records for millennia. The color of revolution. Grand Admiral Yextal's holographic image towered over the Curiosity's conference room, their scales arranged in the formal patterns of Imperial authority. Behind them, the massive Imperial battle fleet hung in space like a constellation of crystalline daggers. "Supreme Commander Vixthal," the Admiral's voice carried the weight of 10,000 years of unquestioned rule, "you have failed to subjugate these primitives. The Council has dispatched me to correct this oversight." Captain Chen stood beside Vixthal, studying the hologram with professional interest. "You know, that's an impressive projection system. The crystalline matrix must allow for incredible detail retention. Though I notice there's a slight phase variance in the quantum signature." Silence. Yextel's scales flashed warning patterns. "You will address the Imperial fleet with proper respect, human." "Actually," Chen replied, tapping something into her datapad, "I'm more interested in addressing that phase variance." "Maya, are you seeing this?" Dr. Patel's voice came over the comm. "Oh yeah. Their quantum encryption is impressive, but they never considered someone might analyze the holographic carrier wave itself. Give me 10 minutes, and I can probably tap into their entire command and control network." The Admiral's image flickered, scales shifting to alarm patterns. "Impossible. Our communications are protected by technologies perfected over millennia." "That's kind of the problem," Chen said, still focused on her datapad. "Perfect systems are predictable systems. Maya, how's that analysis coming?" 5 more minutes, Captain. Khazar is actually helping. Turns out they've had some interesting ideas about quantum field manipulation that they were never allowed to explore. Something about maintaining the purity of established protocols." Vixthal stepped forward, their scales now showing a pattern that mixed determination with hope. "Admiral, these humans are not primitives to be conquered. They approach technology, society, even warfare in ways we never imagined. They don't seek perfection. They embrace chaos and change. Then they are a danger to the Empire, Yextel declared. Our civilization is built on order, on the refinement of the perfect system. We cannot allow such unpredictability to exist. Chen finally looked up from her datapad. You know what's interesting? We've detected 14 different variations in your fleet's crystal matrix structures. 14 different ways your shipwrights deviated from perfect protocols, probably to solve local problems or improve efficiency. Even your empire can't completely suppress innovation. The Admiral's image stuttered, their scales showing confusion. How could you possibly know that? Because we look for patterns in chaos, Chen replied. While you were giving your speech, we've been scanning your entire fleet. Every ship tells a story of small changes, little rebellions against standardization. Your own people are already innovating. You just refuse to see it. Around the conference room, other displays sprang to life, showing detailed scans of the Imperial fleet. Human and Zeraxian engineers pointed out variations in design, unauthorized modifications, creative solutions to engineering problems that had somehow slipped past Imperial standardization. This is sedition, Yextel roared. These differences will be corrected. The fleet will commence firing in 5 minutes. Choose your next words carefully. Supreme Commander Vixthal. Where do your loyalties lie? Vixthal looked at the human and Zeraxian crew members working together, then at the scans showing the hidden creativity of their own people. Their scales shifted to a new pattern, one that combined the formal authority of command with the iridescent swirls of discovery. My loyalty lies with progress, Admiral, with the future. These humans have shown me that perfection isn't about achieving a final, unchanging state. It's about perfect adaptation, perfect growth, perfect evolution. Chen smiled. Maya, how are we doing with that command network? Done, Captain. And you won't believe what we found. Khazar, show them. New displays appeared, showing internal communications from across the Imperial fleet. Messages between engineers sharing unauthorized innovations. Scientists discussing theoretical breakthroughs that challenged Imperial doctrine. Officers expressing doubts about the rigid hierarchy that stifled creativity. Your own people are ready for change, Chen said to the Admiral's flickering image. They're just waiting for permission to admit it. So, what's it going to be? Do we have to do this the hard way? Or are you interested in seeing what happens when we combine human adaptability with Zeraxian precision? The conference room fell silent as the Admiral's scales shifted through a cascade of patterns. Anger, confusion, fear, and finally, something unprecedented in Imperial history, curiosity. Perhaps, Yextel said slowly, a demonstration of these combined capabilities would be informative. I thought you'd never ask. Chen grinned. Maya, show them what you and Khazar have been working on. The holographic display shifted to show a new design, a hybrid drive system that merged crystalline technology with quantum fold principles. It was neither human nor Zeraxian, but something entirely new. As the engineers began their presentation, Vixthal leaned close to Chen. You planned this, didn't you? Used our own communication systems to show the Admiral what was already happening in the Empire. Actually, Chen whispered back, we just created the opportunity. Your people did the rest. Sometimes the most powerful revolution is simply showing people what they already know to be true. The Admiral's image watched the presentation, their scales gradually shifting to show something that hadn't been seen in an Imperial leader for millennia. Wonder. A week after the standoff, the combined human-Zeraxian fleet assembled in deep space for what the Imperial records would later call the War Games incident. 20 Imperial warships faced off against 5 human vessels, each now carrying mixed crews of humans and Zeraxian volunteers who had chosen to embrace change. Admiral Yextel watched from the command ship Imperial Truth, their scales still showing traces of skepticism. These exercises will prove once and for all whether this cooperation has merit. On the bridge of the Curiosity, Captain Chen finished briefing the mixed crew. Remember, this isn't about winning or losing. It's about showing what's possible when different perspectives come together. Khazar, now serving as liaison engineer, manipulated the crystalline control interface they had integrated into the human systems. The hybrid quantum crystal drive is operating at 143% of projected efficiency, Captain. It seems the chaotic elements actually enhance the crystalline matrix's coherence. That's what happens when you stop fighting chaos and learn to work with it, Maya replied from her engineering station. Ready to show them what else we've come up with? Chen nodded. All ships, execute Protocol Fibonacci. The 5 human vessels suddenly split into multiple quantum echoes, each looking perfectly real to Imperial sensors. The crystalline technology amplified the effect, creating a cascading pattern of ships that followed mathematical principles both human and Ziraxian computers recognized as elegant. On the Imperial Truth, tactical officers struggled to track the real ships among the quantum duplicates. Impossible, one declared. Their energy signatures are identical. Because they're all real, Vixthal explained, watching from beside Yextal. And all false. They exist in a quantum superposition, guided by crystalline focusing arrays. Neither our technology nor theirs could achieve this alone. The demonstration continued as the human ships executed maneuvers that combined Imperial precision with terrestrial unpredictability. Quantum jumps were guided by crystalline matrices, creating patterns that were simultaneously chaotic and perfectly structured. Fascinating, Yextal admitted, their scales shifting to show intellectual engagement. But can these hybrid systems actually enhance combat effectiveness? Chen's voice came over the command channel. Shall we find out? Your full fleet against our 5 ships. Training weapons only, of course. Agreed, Yextal said. All ships execute standard Imperial combat protocols. The Imperial fleet moved with perfect coordination, their formation designed to trap and eliminate enemies through overwhelming force. For 10,000 years, this approach had been undefeated. But the human Ziraxian ships didn't fight like any enemy the Empire had faced. They moved as one moment, scattered the next. Crystal-enhanced sensors predicted Imperial maneuvers, while human intuition found ways to exploit the smallest gaps in their perfect formations. When the exercise ended 2 hours later, the Imperial fleet had failed to score a single confirmed hit. The hybrid ships had tagged each Imperial vessel multiple times, using tactics that combined human creativity with Ziraxian precision. Well, Chen's voice carried a hint of satisfaction. I think that demonstrates the potential. But the real breakthrough isn't about military applications. The hybrid ships formed up around the Curiosity, their quantum crystal drives humming in harmony. Maya and Khazar appeared on the command channel, standing together at their integrated engineering station. Watch this, Maya said, initiating a new sequence. The crystalline matrices in each ship began to resonate, creating a quantum field larger than any ever recorded. The same principles that make our ships harder to hit. They also let us do this. Space itself seemed to ripple as the combined field took effect. On their sensors, the Imperial fleet detected something unprecedented. A stable quantum tunnel, large enough for capital ships, requiring only a fraction of normal power expenditure. A new form of faster-than-light travel. Khazar explained, their scales showing patterns of pure joy and discovery, one that could allow exploration and commerce on a scale neither of our civilizations imagined possible. Yextal's scales shifted through a complex series of patterns before settling on one that hadn't been seen in Imperial leadership for generations. Adaptation. The Council will resist these changes, they said finally. Of course they will, Chen replied. Change is scary, but look at your crews, Admiral. Look at how they're already embracing new possibilities. Throughout the Imperial fleet, humans and Ziraxians were exchanging ideas, sharing discoveries, finding ways to combine their different approaches into something greater than either could achieve alone. Perhaps, Yextal said slowly, It is time for the Empire itself to learn a lesson about adaptation. Vixthal's scales rippled with approval. The question is no longer whether to change, but how quickly we can learn to surf the waves of chaos as skillfully as our human friends. 1 year after the War Games incident, the observation deck of the newly commissioned Harmony hummed with activity. The massive vessel, the first jointly designed and built human Ziraxian ship, hung in orbit above Earth, its crystalline quantum hull shimmering with possibilities. Captain Chen stood beside Admiral Yextal, watching as shuttles from both civilizations docked with the ship. The Admiral's scales now regularly displayed patterns that would have been considered chaotic by Imperial standards just a year ago. The Council finally approved the Joint Exploration Initiative, Yextal said, their voice carrying notes of both satisfaction and amusement. Though I suspect demonstrating the economic benefits of quantum crystal technology helped overcome their philosophical objections. Amazing what the prospect of improved trade routes can do for ideological flexibility. Chen replied with a smile. How are the traditionalists handling the changes? Better than expected. When they saw younger Ziraxians developing new applications for crystalline technology, many realized they could either adapt or become irrelevant. Even the most conservative council members are now taking classes in human-style innovative thinking. The observation deck's door slid open, admitting Maya and Khazar. The human scientist and Ziraxian engineer had become the face of successful cooperation between their species, their collaborative papers on quantum crystal theory revolutionizing both human and imperial science. The integration of the new hybrid drive is complete, Khazar reported, their scales showing excitement. Efficiency rates are 300% above our most optimistic projections. We've had to develop entirely new mathematical models just to explain how it works. Maya nodded enthusiastically. Turns out when you combine human chaos theory with Ziraxian crystal harmonics, you get something that breaks all the rules in exactly the right ways. We're calling it structured entropy, the perfect balance between order and chaos. Speaking of balance, Chen said, how are the new mixed crews adapting? That's actually the most interesting part, Maya replied. We're seeing genuine cultural exchange. Humans are learning to appreciate the beauty of long-term refinement and precision, while Ziraxians are discovering the thrill of spontaneous innovation. The crew quarters are becoming this amazing blend of human personal touches and Ziraxian crystalline aesthetics. Through the observation window, Earth's blue sphere filled half the view, while the crystalline shapes of Imperial ships caught the sun's light in the distance. Between them, vessels of both civilizations moved in patterns that would have been unthinkable a year ago. Human ships incorporating elegant crystalline elements, Imperial vessels showing signs of creative modification. The Council has received requests from 17 other species in the Empire, Yextal noted. They want to establish similar cooperative programs with Earth. It seems the concept of balanced innovation is spreading. And we've had inquiries from 12 non-imperial civilizations, Chen added. They're interested in joining what they're calling the Harmony Protocols, the framework we developed for technological and cultural exchange. A soft chime indicated the ship's AI was requesting attention. The artificial intelligence itself was another hybrid creation, combining imperial crystalline processing with human neural network architecture. Captain, Admiral, it said, its voice carrying both precise clarity and warm humanity. The first long-range scan results from the quantum crystal sensors are ready. We've detected several unusual phenomena that don't match either human or imperial scientific models. Chen and Yextal shared a look of anticipation. New mysteries to solve, Chen said. Together. Indeed. Yextal agreed, their scales showing a pattern that perfectly balanced imperial authority with human-inspired curiosity. Though I suspect these mysteries are just the beginning. The Harmony powered up its hybrid drive, the quantum fields harmonizing with crystalline matrices in ways that defied traditional physics. As the massive ship prepared for its first official mission, its crew, human and Ziraxian alike, felt the thrill of stepping into unknown territory. Maya and Khazar returned to their shared engineering station, already discussing theories about the anomalous readings. Throughout the ship, mixed teams prepared for their journey, each bringing their unique perspectives to the challenges ahead. "You know," Chen said to Yextal as they watched Earth recede beneath them, "a year ago, your empire thought they were coming to teach us about civilization. Instead, we all learned something more valuable." "Oh." Yextal's scales shifted inquisitively. "And what would that be?" "That true civilization isn't about achieving perfection," Chen replied. "It's about perfect growth, perfect adaptation, perfect curiosity. The Empire sought to perfect the answers, but humanity perfected the art of asking questions." As the Harmony engaged its drive, opening a quantum crystal tunnel larger and more stable than any before, the ship's registry caught the light. HFY Harmony, Joint Human-Zeraxian Vessel. Through order and chaos, we grow. The universe, vast and mysterious, waited ahead. And for the first time in 10,000 years, both humanity and the Empire were ready to face it not as conquerors or competitors, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, discovery.